Hey YouTube, today I'm going to be showing you how to use command prompts and some very cool things you can do with it. First thing you need to do is load up command prompt, which can be done in many different ways if you're using Windows 7 like I am. Just type in command prompt, that's there, or CMD, it's there, or if you want to be really quick, Windows key and R, and just type in CMD. You get it exactly the same way, no difference at all. So you can open up a window that looks, well, just like this. It's going to have some trademark stuff, and then the hard drive, users, and then your username. Now one thing that you might want to do is, I admit, black on grey doesn't look that nice. So if you type in colour, spelled the American way, C-O-L-O-R, nothing happens. If you type in colour A, it goes to green, which was very nice, which is what I use. You can type in, if you use the up and down arrows, then it goes back to the last commands that you used. So select colour A, B, C, C's quite nice, D, E, F, G doesn't do anything, but down here you can get the help menu. If you type anything wrong, then the help menu will come up. And what this is telling you how to use it exactly. So if you type in example in here, which is colour FC, capitals makes no difference, so let's do that. It changes the, if you use light red on a white background. So you do the first one, as it says here, the first one corresponds to the background, so i.e. this white that I've got here, and the second is the foreground. And these here have the colour codes which you use. So you just type in colour, and then say if I wanted 21, which is that. Not particularly nice, but whatever, it works. However, if you type in the same one, strike 33, it actually doesn't let you. It will not let you just have a blank green screen, because it really doesn't look very nice. So I'm going to get it back to what I use, which is colour A. If you just put in the text one and don't put anything in for the background, then it will just default down to its normal black. Right, now, a good thing is, if you've got all this, this is good if you're trying to correspond things to a help section that's come up here. But if you're not, and you want it to look nicer, just type in CLS, stands for clear screen, enter, it clears everything you need. Now to get on to the decent things. Changing users' passwords without having to know it. And to do that, just type in netuser. Well, the first thing you need to do is type in netuser, and it will show you all the users that you have. Administrator, don't touch that, because that's the default one which tech people use to gain into your account, which I will show you how to do later in this tutorial. Guest account is normally disabled by default, and there's update as user, which I have no clue what that is, and then there's my username here. If I type in netuser Jake, I get loads of statistics. I get membership, last log on, when I'm allowed on, passwords, it was changed, account details, usernames, stuff like that, which is useful if there's a lot of people on your computer, but I only have one. So I'm just going to leave that like that, because I can see my details and the details of anyone on this computer, which is there. Now if I type in netuser Jake space asterisk, this is a very cool thing. You can type a password for this user. All you need to do is just type in a password, which For the reasons of this tutorial, I'm not going to do, because I quite like my password and I don't want to change it. Except, one thing is, no matter what, if you type anything, it is not going to show up. Don't panic and think your computer's broken. It just doesn't show up for some reason. So just type it in and type in the password that you want. It's not going to show up. Hit enter. You type the password to confirm. Type it exactly the same again. It's not going to come up. Hit enter again. System error 5 has occurred. This is very annoying because it means it's what system error 5 is. If you Google it, which I've had to do, what it is it means you need to be an administrator to use this command, which is where things get quite annoying. So what I'm going to do is, if I close this by typing exit, and now run it as an administrator by going to command prompt, right clicking on it, and selecting run as administrator. If you're not an administrator on your home computer, then a dialog box will come up here telling you to put in an administrator's login. If you're not an administrator, then I will show you how to become an administrator. If you are an administrator, just click yes. Same thing comes up, but now it runs it as Windows System 32. The user 32 is just the user that's logged on at the current time. System 32 means it's running it as your computer, which means you can do anything you like. I'm just going to get this back to what I like to do, which is what I had before. I can still do all the same commands. Net user, Jake, and net user, Jake asterisk. They all work exactly the same. However, now, if you, on this bit, if I hit enter, you'll see the command is completed successfully, which is very good because it now means that whatever you typed in there is now set as the password for the username that you've put in here, which is Jake for me. So to test it, I don't know if the screen recorder will still work, just press Windows key and L and it will lock. Now, for some unknown reason, this hasn't got a password because I set it to blank. If you set it to blank, it just removes the password, which is very useful. Just log in and everything comes back. Now what I'm going to show you how to do is a couple more things. So I'm going to clear that, and I'm going to show you how to make yourself an administrator, which uses a bit longer line of code, but it's very, very simple. You need net because that's, I'm not 100% sure what it means, but it's what you need. You need Localgroup because that's the group that you want to become an administrator on, which is default name of the group for your computer. If you're trying to do this on a school network, A, I wouldn't advise it because you'll get kicked out, and B, it's a little bit more complicated because you will not get into System 32. You just type in net local group. If you hit enter, it tells you all of the groups with asterisks, which are just like bullet points, for this computer. Now I have no clue why I have SQL because I haven't got an SQL server, but the main one you need is administrators. So if you type in net local group, it has to be administrators. It doesn't have to be a capital A, but it has to have the S on the end. Then you type in the username and then a slash. If you want to add the username, which you have here, to the group, you type in add. If you want to remove the username from the group, you type in delete. I don't particularly want to do either, but I'm just going to type in add because you can. Now I'm not 100% sure what the system error code is, but it's saying I'm already a member of this group, which is A, correct, and B, good. You can get rid of that. The next thing I'm going to show you how to do is something which might work on a school computer, but it definitely will not work on your home computer because it only works on server networks. If you type in shutdown space hyphen I, it needs to have the space in because otherwise it's just the line of code. And if you hit enter, you get this very, very cool thing. It's called Remote Shutdown Dialog. Well, what this is, it is exactly what it says on the tin. It remote shuts down any computer you want. You can shut it down, restart it. I don't know what that one does. If you add, then you have to type in manually, and 9 times out of 10 you will get it wrong. If you browse, then it will say the Active Directory domain services are currently unavailable, which means you're not on a server, because the Active Directory domain is what usernames there are on the computer. First thing you need, right, so you can just close that, which means it does kind of make this completely useless, but it's still a cool thing to know. Just click cancel, new line comes up down there, and you go back to whatever you're doing. Next thing I'm going to show you how to do is, I'm not actually going to do it, but it's how to shut down your computer through command prompt, which is this code here, shutdown --s. I'm not going to deploy it because my computer, as powerful it is, takes a long time to turn back on, and it will stop the screen record. So I'm not going to do it. If you do it, a dialog box will pop up. It says computer shutting down. It will give you a 30-second countdown. It cannot be stopped it cannot be stopped in any way other than command prompt by typing in shutdown --a. That's how you abort any kind of shutdown. If you click shutdown in here, type that in quickly and quick enough, then it'll stop that. If the remote shutdown, I'm not 100% sure if that works, because I've never actually tried it. Now, one thing you can do, which is very cool, is you can use any commands which I showed you in this to create small, very basic programs. The first things that you're going to need to do, if you want to create one like that, is to put in a tag like this, which allows users to put in something. You have to type in set /p input, and then I think it's equals, and then like whatever you want it to say, like command, and then it'll say it down here. So then you can type in whatever you want, which I just button mashed. Just hit enter and it'll do nothing. Which is very useful, but not in command prompt itself. It's only really useful if you're using coding in this. Another good thing is if you want to create something that looks like, if you want to create something that's completely secure, you can have it so it's a randomly changing password, which even if someone opens the source code, well, it's technically impossible to crack, but because it uses a random number, which is %random and then % again. So enter, and it generates that %. It doesn't generate a random number for you like this command does. It actually inputs the number in there. So it's as if you've just typed in a random number, like button mashed on the number pad, which I'm not 100% sure how long the numbers are, but it's probably a 4-digit number. It's not a 4-digit number, it is literally just any number that you want. So I'm going to get rid of all that spam. And if you're good enough, then you can create things which look really quite cool by creating things that look like that. Which, granted, it does absolutely nothing. It just looks really cool. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you how to make one. The first thing you need, right, I'm just going to get rid of that, because I don't need it. Right, all you need is Notepad, or anything like WordPad, Notepad++. You can probably do it in Word, but it's not that good. For me, I use Notepad++, which is this one here, which loads up very well. So what you need to do is you need to type in @echo off, which just means that in command prompt these things are the echoes. So if you type in that command there, then it just gets rid of this. So if I even type it in here for you, @echo, if I could type echo off, then it means there's nothing there, and I can still type in anything, any normal command, which I'm using here is net user, and it still works just as normally, and all that does is just make it look nicer. Now to put in some text, you have to put in echo before it. So then if you just type in something like echo, for this I'm going to put in a press any key, so just type in echo, press any key to enter the matrix. Because, well, if any of you have seen the films, then that's basically what it looks like. It's been dot to dot. Now to put in a pause, which if I show you what it looks like in command prompt, it looks like pause null, nuke null. Right, that means that the pause is there, but there's no, it doesn't generate any text for you. So you just press any key, like text key, nothing like controls, shifts, or what have you. That doesn't work. So let's get rid of that. So if I type in pause null, then it means that that is the text that will show above it. Whereas if I put in just pause, then it generates the press any key to continue, which is also quite cool if you're quite lazy. Right, so I'm just going to use that one, and then it's the actual matrix bit itself. You need echo, and then you need to type in %random, then % again. Right, the easy thing to do, unless you're an incredibly fast typer, in which, well, you're amazing, just copy that at the end, and just paste it repetitively for quite a while. Well, that should do it. In fact, what you need to do above here to make it loop, because all that's going to do is go there, and if you type in pause in here, then it's just going to pause again, and then if there's nothing there, then it's just going to close, or crash. So to make it repeat, if you type in go to colon, like, not anything, I'll just put M, then if you type in here, colon M, that line of code itself doesn't do anything, but it creates like a marker. So if you're saying go to M, then whatever it's run, once it's run that, it's saying go to M, which means it goes back up to there, down, runs that, back up. It's like a never-ending circle, which is brilliant because it means this will never, ever stop. If you particularly want to run it permanently, it will never change. That's all, it will continuously go, it will continuously loop. Now what you need to do now is save it as the right file format. If you can save, I'm just going to save it to my desktop because it's easier. Right, now save it as, here, batch file, which if you're just using Notepad, save it as a normal, I think it'll be under Unicode, and just type in whatever and make sure the file extension is .bat or .cmd. I'm just going to do it here, .cmd. Matrix.cmd, it's saving it to my desktop. Let's just save. It's generated it all in colours, which is very, very cool. I'll just minimize that. I have this here. I'll enter on it. Just press any key to enter the matrix. Press any key, and it does that. Which doesn't quite look as cool as the one I just showed you, which I delete the shortcut down there so I can't really show you. Let's make it coloured. All you do is just type in the same colour code, colour A. Save again. Auto updates. Just run. Press any key to enter the matrix, and there's a matrix. And that is quite cool, but also completely useless. Which is why I also have some other... Well, I would show you some others, but I have a lot. I don't need that anymore. So now the next thing I'm going to show you how to do is how to use these, how to use the net user and net local group to actually change any user on a computer's password without even needing to load up Windows. Well, you need to load up Windows, but not like the actual directory of it itself. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to my camera on my laptop, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Right, there we go. Now I've got my laptop there, you can see the screen here. And I'm going to show you how to use this without having to boot into Windows. First thing you need to do is make sure the computer is turned off, because you don't actually need Windows really in the desktop at all. Just hit the power button, and as soon as that logo pops up, just repetitively press F8. Right, and this menu comes up. Sorry if you can't read it, it's just my camera is not particularly new. You need to click on this one here which says Safe Mode with Command Prompt. It says in the description, start Windows with core drivers and launch the command prompt. This is the easiest thing to do. So just click on that. And it might look like whatever it's doing is like breaking your computer or what have you, but it really isn't. It's just loading the files that it needs directly to run command prompt. And it can take some time. Or maybe it can't. If you look at your screen, the resolution on it is very big. It is also meant to be there. Now if I click switch users, there should go to other user, and if I type in here administrator, no password, okay, there isn't one, which must mean I have it disabled. If you have it disabled, then there'll be a link in the description on another tutorial showing you how to re-add it, but just log in if you've already got a login and use it. Now hopefully this shouldn't take too long. Sorry if you can't see the text, it's just quite like the background. If you want to know how to set a background, then comment below and I'll create another tutorial for that. Because it really isn't very difficult. You know what you're doing. Right, there we go. And now you'll see it says Windows System 32 because the account I logged in as is an administrator. Which makes things very useful. Right. Sorry if you can't. Alright, can we do. Sorry, adjusting the tripod. Right, okay, now you can see exactly what I'm typing. And the tripod's in the way of the keyboard. Right, so if you just type in net user, as you did on the old one, then it will come up with this. Which is still saying that, well, fortunately I have exactly the same username on most computers, so there's still Jake there. Now, one second, if I change the colour, you can't see that really any better, so I'll just leave it like that because I think it looks cooler. Right, now to just keep that there because it's easier, if you type in net user, then Jake, exactly the same command as in normal Windows because it is exactly the same program. Just type in net user, click star, type the password for the user, or don't, leave it blank, then it will get rid of the password as it did on the normal Windows, and then just the command was completed successfully, which you might not be able to read. But that should be better. Right, then if you want to, you can do exactly the same with Localgroup. If I could type, you can still use the arrow keys just like the cursor. Net Localgroup, workstation has not been started. For goodness sake. Okay, there aren't any local groups, but if you type in net local group administrators, and then username / add, it should add you. says, again, already a member of that group. Down there. All the commands are exactly the same on this as on normal command prompts. Which makes just using this a lot simpler. Right, I think that's all you really need to know. I'm not responsible for anything you do with these because I only showed you how to do it, I didn't tell you to do it. Now, if you just type to get out of this, because it's literally just type in exit, and it closes, Control-Alt-Delete. Now I can barely see the text, so you're definitely not going to be able to. Just hit normal, log off, or shut down. Just down there. Exactly the same layout as Windows. It might even load a little faster than Windows because there's a lot less to actually load. Right. That's really all you need to know about the command prompt. As I said, if you need any help with anything, then comment below. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe for other YouTube tutorials as cool as this one. Thank you, goodbye.